So the CP Craw. So when I made the CP Craw, the CP stands for, I guess y'all can figure that out. That's me. The CP Craw is probably one of the most universal little craw style baits to me. It's a bait that I do so much with. I'll flip it, I'll pitch it, I use it on a lot of, just about any kind of jig you could imagine, be it a football head jig, a swim jig, a flipping jig. It makes a great jig trailer. It also makes a great trailer for your bladed jigs. This is a bait that I can even just Texas rig and swim all by itself. But a lot of the baits in this category, there were things about them that I didn't like. If you look at the CP Craw, the CP Craw is a solid body. You know, it's got a couple little notches on the side to help it push water, but it's got a lot of meat to it for its size. So you can rig it very easily. You can keep a hook in it. And the other thing about it is so that it will hold up on your jig. The other thing about the CP Craw, if you can tell from that far away, is up at the top of the CP Craw, as the body's tapering down, it actually has a reverse taper slightly and gets slightly larger to the point. And the reason I made it like that is, again, like I said, I love to use this bait as a jig trailer. And a lot of baits want to come down to a real tight point at the nose. When you put them on a jig, most all the jigs that we use either have a wire or a lead or maybe a screw lock keeper. There's just not enough material in the tip of those baits to put it on a jig and it stay there. It wants to split, it wants to tear. This design that I've got on the CP Craw lets you put this on a jig. You've got a little more meat there just to bite into whatever, basically, for lack of better words, whatever jig holder that your jig particularly might have, be it a lead barb, a wire keeper, or a screw lock. You've got enough material there to get that keeper into the bait well and make it hold up. But the CP Craw, like I said, it's an awesome bait for flipping and pitching. Sometimes I will actually take this bait and cut it down and even make like a chunk style bait out of it. The body's thin enough, and if you look at the bottom of it, I've got some lines drawn on it, and they're sexy and they're crawfish looking. But one of the main reasons I put these lines on here was so that if I wanted to nip it down and make a little hang-on chunk out of it, I know right where to nip it. I've got 3 sets of lines there, so I can cut it down and make it fit whatever jig I'm trying to put it on. And I know, you know, for this jig I cut it at the 3rd line, for this jig I cut it at the 1st line, etc., etc. But the CP Craw is a very universal bait. You know, I'm making this bait in a lot of different colors. This is an old school June bug red. This is a habanero. This is blue albino, and you know, I've got more colors coming in it. But the CP Craw is really such a universal bait for me, from the aspect that I love the bait just as it is. It's got plenty enough mass to it. It's got plenty enough body. You can rig this bait on a 5/0 straight shank hook and flip some mats with it. I'll scale down to a 4/0 straight shank hook if I'm using a smaller sinker, say a 1/4 or 5/16. Flip the bait by itself. Put it on any kind of bait you want as a trailer. I've even caught fish using this bait as a trailer on a spinnerbait. So CP Craw is a super universal bait. It's a bait that I think is going to fit in y'all's boats very, very well.